Is this Hellraiser the best since the original? Time to find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching my review for Hellraiser. So I'm going to get it right out of the way. I think this movie is awesome. I love this movie. While I don't think narratively it is as strong as like the first two Hellraiser movies, it definitely puts us back on track, seeing as the last 8 have been terrible. I mean, Doug Bradley's been awesome in most of those, even though he's used very sparingly. Like the last Hellraiser, what was it, Revelations, I think, was just dog shit. I mean, it was not good at all. There was really nothing I liked in it. And I know most of those were basically just cash grabs, and they were like cop dramas that then they shoved Hellraiser stuff into. So, I mean, there was no way they were going to be good, whereas this was made as a Hellraiser movie. Why this wasn't put in theaters is kind of beyond me. I don't know why Disney keeps doing this with their like Fox, Hulu properties. I mean, we got this with Prey, we got this with Hellraiser. Those would have definitely been movies that would have been awesome to see, and I think people would have gone to see them. So I don't know why they're doing this. You know, Disney ruins everything, you know. They make live action stuff they've already done, they ruin that, and now they're ruining like awesome properties by throwing them on Hulu. But that's another rant, another time that we can talk about that. But let's get into what I really like about this movie. Jamie Clayton is awesome. All the Cenobites are awesome. We got Gas, we got Chatterer, we got a ton of different designs in here towards the end, and I love all of them. I like that they're doing practical makeup, and like I like that they've basically gone from like the leather bondage look to more like peeling skin off and making that into clothing. It's super cool, and I'm really a fan of that. So I can definitely see the Clive Barker like influence here, where you can tell he definitely wasn't a part of those last ones. And I really like the direction from David Bruckner, although I think it's very bland in comparison to The Night House and like The Ritual. You know, it's contrasted to that. I mean, a lot of the shots are just kind of plain, and they're basically just getting the story across. I think you could have done a lot of more interesting things with Hellraiser directing wise, but that's kind of a nitpick. But I do like that he's behind the camera, and we've got him writing and his co-writer from The Night House, and then David S. Goyer. You might know him well from some comic stuff, and then also The Dark Knight. But the trio here writes a solid but not amazing story. But I think overall, I really like where they've set up and then where we can go. So in the beginning, we have Mr. Void, who has the puzzle box, and he lures a young man in there to kind of change the configuration so he can get what he wants. He gets the last configuration, and then he gets what he wants. Now, we don't see what his gift is until the very end, so I'm not going to spoil that, but he does get a gift. You know, it's always not the gift you want. You know, these are Cenobites. Shit, this is hell. You are definitely not going to get the gift you want. But so after this inciting event, we skipped 6 years forward, and then we follow Riley, we follow Colin, her brother Matt, and her semi-like boyfriend or like boy toy at the time, Trevor. Now, she has just come out of AA, basically. She has been sober for a few months, and Trevor is in this program right now. So her brother really doesn't like that she's hanging out with somebody that is still dealing with addiction, as she has been sober. So that's kind of the conflict of this movie. You have the three of them in conflict, and this eventually leads to her being kicked out of the house, and then Trevor kind of proposing that, like, hey, I know of a warehouse that I work at. It's basically abandoned, and there's like one last shipment in there, and we could go steal that. And they do that, and it becomes known then that the stealing is of the puzzle box. That was really weird that I worded it that way. They steal the puzzle box. So he gives it to her. He's like, yeah, sure, take it. And she does. She goes back home. Like I said, she gets kicked out of her brother's apartment. She takes some pills and then goes into a little park area. Tries to work on it, gets stabbed. She begins to see the priestess and some of the Cenobites. Her brother comes looking for her, and then he gets stabbed. And, well, no, sorry, she actually doesn't get stabbed at this point. I think she thinks she gets stabbed, but she doesn't. She actually gets stabbed later. I'm sorry, I'm misremembering. There's a lot to remember in this movie. I literally just watched it. But anyway, her brother gets stabbed. He gets taken, and so this is the inciting event that causes her to continue her journey to begin to find her brother. And so that's kind of where we are led into the main plot. And so this leads into multiple characters being dispatched and the configuration of the box changing. I don't want to give away too much. This is non-spoiler. So kind of go in with that. That's your basic premise and synopsis of what's going to happen. She has to basically get the configuration to change so she can try and get her brother resurrected. So overall, I like it. It's a very simple plot, but it does work for this kind of reboot of the series. So let's get into what I really like about this movie. Like I said, Jamie Clayton is awesome as the priestess. She is not like directly Pinhead. I mean, she is Pinhead, but she is slightly different. They do reference her as the priestess. So like I said, she is slightly different than Doug Bradley's portrayal of Pinhead, but she is awesome. I like all the cinematic designs. And that's probably my favorite part, and that's the strongest part of this movie, is just kind of getting them back and making them the focus of the movie. We do have Leviathan in this movie, which is not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. They show that. And so that's cool. I mean, that obviously was not like in the first Hellraiser, and that was more expanded on later, but it is cool to see Leviathan show up. But overall, I really like this movie. I think it's a good reset, and I think it puts us on a path that if we do get more of these, I'm definitely excited to see these. Hopefully, Disney will pull these off of Hulu, though, and we can get these sequels in theaters if this does well enough. But if not, I mean, I guess it would be a cool horror streaming series that we do get. Maybe they can, go a little harder R and more violent if they're going to be on streaming than they could in theaters. So we do get gore. We do get some carnage in this. Like I said, all the Cenobites look awesome. So I definitely just recommend, just go watch this movie. If you like Hellraiser at all, then I think you're really going to like this movie. And like I said, it definitely puts us on track for further entries, and I'm excited for that. So that's all I've got today. Thanks for watching my review. If you like what I do, consider becoming part of the collective. You can check out some other reviews I did. I just did Terrifier 2, and I'm going to be doing Werewolf by Night tomorrow. And then Halloween is obviously next week, so I'm super excited for that. But check all that out. Let me know down below, did you like Hellraiser? What's your favorite Hellraiser? Does this stack up to the original? Do you like this more than the original? So that's all I got. Don't forget, some doors should never be opened.